Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Limitless. And as usual, I'm excited to have a very special guest, Jorgen Jordan, otherwise known as Ems.
Yeah.
And just so that we can talk about her life, breaking through limitation, and having amazing fruit. Now, I've known Ems for many, many years. She's a daughter of the heart. Love you so much.
I love you, Mom.
A beneficiary of global impact in many different ways. And she's got some really valuable stories that we want to share with you because, you know, we all learn from other people's stories, right? It's one of the best ways to learn is to understand a principle, but then look at how it's been applied into somebody's life. And so I know that you have that. So welcome again, Jorgen, or Ems for short, to Limitless.
Thank you, Mama. Once again, thank you for welcoming me. This is my second time.
That's right.
Yeah, the second time. But first time for being just alone with you
Yeah.
in the interview.
The other time you had
At the MD and Sir from
from Tibor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So maybe you were more comfortable because you had more people to talk, but you're
Yeah.
bold enough just to be with me, you know.
Yes.
For those that don't know, if you're not from the Philippines, when they have to talk to me all the time, not Ems really, but in English, they make jokes about having a nosebleed because they have to think so much in English. So hopefully I won't give you a nosebleed today.
I hope to.
But of course, that's just a joke.
Yeah.
Okay. Ems, I'm going to call you Ems. She actually prefers Jorgen now, right? So if you're
Yeah.
calling her, you can call her Jorgen, but I'll call her Ems because that's how I love her and know her. Tell me and our viewers a bit about how you grew up. Where'd you come from? Your childhood, that sort of thing.
So, I was born in the province of North Cotabato in Tulunan, municipality of Tulunan. And I was born there in 1993.
Now we know your age.
Yeah, so I grew up very simple and, my father works as a heavy equipment operator and, he doesn't earn that much, especially before he was regular at work. So he barely has like minimum, and minimum wage before is way, way minimum. And my mother is a housewife and we are 6 in the family and I am the youngest. I am the youngest. So, and I wouldn't say that our life is always happy and easy because definitely I grew up in a poor family. So, my parents, especially my father, can provide meals for us, but sometimes it's really, difficult. So it's not like,
It sounds like the situation was all of his work and effort went to just providing food, right?
Yeah,
like,
providing the basic needs.
the basic needs. Yeah.
And
No extras,
yeah,
really.
no extra. So when we want something, we cannot get that right away, or somebody has to give us something or my parents would really save up and, basically.
Well, maybe I should ask you right now we have a story. By the way, viewers, we're terming this interview Brains and Beauty. Now, there's a reason. We're going to get to it in a minute. But what I want to do is ask you about the crayons right now because you've just sort of led into that. Tell us the crayon story. What is that?
So the Crayon Story, as ever is like elementary to high school. So I remember, again, we only have basics. I was studying and I only have basics, like few notebooks and that kind of thing, and other extra. Sometimes you get it, sometimes not, especially crayons. I love arts. That's why this Crayon Story is very, very personal to me. So, we couldn't really afford like a set of crayons. So what I do before is from the allowance that my mother or my parents would give me, I would set aside few peso and then just set aside and save up until I can buy my ever dream of having a crayon. A set of like 24 pieces of crayon.
Just to give everybody, especially maybe if they're international viewers, how much would be a set of crayons that you were saving for?
That's before, probably it's around 20 pesos or
20 pesos?
Yeah, that's very...
Wow. Okay, so what we're doing is we're talking about the equivalent of less than 50 cents US. That's what was considered a luxury item. And as a little child, you had to save a few cents at a time to be able to save up for 20 pesos or to a few pesos at a time. Oh my goodness.
So that I could have crayons and I wouldn't ask my classmates to borrow crayons from them, you know, and especially for me that I love to draw. I love, you know, it's a dream.
Yeah.
It's a dream to have crayons. So, and I remember one time, I was, in high school, I was in a competition and then I was standing there and my contenders are all from private schools and I'm from public school. And prior to attending the competition, I really don't have crayons, Pastor Amy. So what I did, my uncle gave me some broken pieces of his oil pastel and just, you know, like simple crayons and stuff like that. And I remember everybody in that room was looking at me because, so, you know, it's broken. I have broken pieces. They have very fancy materials. They have their coaches there and I don't have my coach because I don't know he's away and he just left me there. And it was, you know, I just had this, I almost broke into tears because I felt so pity about myself. I felt, you know, it was really self-pity. And I said that I just really wanted this to be done. I'll do my best. And that's it.
Well, I mean, you know, I think everybody can relate. You're in high school, you said, right? So around what age?
That's around 15,
16.
16.
She has a passion for art, which now we know, I mean, she's extremely gifted artist. I don't know if you knew that at the time, but of course, you know, those sorts of things are like budding on the inside of you. And you're at this competition and you're the one that you just have little pieces of crayons and like leftovers.
Yeah, leftovers.
And you were left behind by the coach. So, anyway, we're telling the story for a reason though, how it made you feel, think about yourself, all of that. So go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So that time and, you know, like, I mean, after that, I was really blessed because I won the competition out of all those, you know, and we represent different municipalities. So it's like the next level. So it was really overwhelming at the same time. That also sprouted the dream of, I just really wanted to have an oil pastel from single crayons, simple crayons to an oil pastel. Because that time I've seen people, that was the first time I've seen somebody using oil, poster paints. I've never seen those, you know. So, and that really drives me that I wanted to really be good at it. I really wanted to, you know, I wanted to join more poster making competitions, not just because I wanted to win, but because I can get money from it. So I can save up and buy the things that I want.
Well, tell me, because we want to focus around, like in our Limitless shows, a lot of our theme is, of course, breaking through limitation and specifically thoughts we think about ourselves and how we feel. So what was going on for you during that time? Like, how did you think about yourself? How did you feel about yourself?
I think especially, I think that, again, we are not, you know, like we don't have that much provision at that time. But I also, one thing that really stuck in me as I grow old is when my coach left me and I felt that I was not the best. You know, I mean, I wasn't his option to be there because I wasn't his bet or his favorite. So, and
I think you told me earlier that you actually felt like last, right? Not just not only not being a favorite, but left behind and last.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's not just that one thing that made me feel that I'm the last, you know, like last or last option. I'm the least favorite, but it just contributed from the, you know, the experience that I had from my childhood.
Okay.
You know,
well, let's delve into that a little bit. So, because what we look at is like our circumstances around us and especially the adults in our life when we're children, when we're teenagers, the way we're treated, what's said to us forms our own perceptions of ourselves. Now we don't know it because it's just natural. Like that's us growing up. So we're forming all these perceptions. But you have this feeling of being last, of not being chosen. It's not a laughable thing, but I'm just thinking how many people out there can, probably relate to that. Yeah, many. So what happened? What else happened in your basically in your childhood and your growing up that made you feel and think that way about yourself?
Yeah. So what happened when I was I was a child, like younger age, I not always, but I got a lot of teasing that I'm ugly. And, and I was told not just by my peer, but also by by an adult that
we won't say who, right? But just adults in your
but
life.
an adult and adults that I am ugly, and I was compared to my sister.
So somebody actually directly, as a child, tells you you're ugly.
Yeah. And, verbatim, I can still remember vividly, the word that she said to me, that you're the most ugly in your, family. You're, the ugly. Why are you that? Like, like something like that. Anyway, in Bisaya, I can say, in Bisaya ba, niingon siya na, sa inyong pamilya, sa inyong igsuon, ikaw naman dyan pinaka-pangit.
Pangit. I know that word.
Yeah, pinaka-pangit or pinaka-laway. Sa Ilonggo pa, ako pinaka-laway sa amo maigsuon. So I was told by that adult. And when your peers would tease you, sometimes you don't bother. It's just like sometimes you just let it pass. But that time when an adult that adult told me that I was ugly, that really hurt me.
Yeah. And did you believe it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And I
think that's important to understand. So it's the things we believe that then hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we didn't believe it, it wouldn't hurt us. Like we might not like it, but it wouldn't hurt. When it hurts because we actually believe it, not because the person said it.
Yeah.
Which is a really good distinction. So you start believing I'm ugly.
Yeah, I started believing that I'm ugly. And because it's not just that time that I felt I'm ugly, I also felt that I'm really not the favorite. I'm really
last, right?
Always the last.
Yeah.
So because they favored
everyone else.
It's
like being chosen.
Yeah.
You're the one that's always left behind. Everyone else is chosen except you.
Except
like that.
Me. Yeah. And if they don't have choice, so they they would choose me.
I choose you.
So, that time, and I remember really telling her, answering her back, and I don't care if you're an adult, but I told her, like, I don't care if I'm the ugliest, I'm the smartest.
Well, she had a little grit in her.
And
how old were you?
I'm probably already in high school.
Oh, okay.
Or but at that time, my mother was there. I don't know if she remembers it, but I remember my mother was also shocked, and she was just frozen. She doesn't know what to do, because that lady is a family friend. So, but I was so...
I love that response though. Well, I don't care if I'm ugly. I'm the smartest.
Yeah. So I said that to her, and she didn't say anything, and I just walk out like...
Yeah. But the point really here is that you really believed that.
Yeah, I really believed
and you did believe that you were smart, right?
Yeah.
You had confidence in yourself.
Yeah, I have confidence in myself.
As we talk about thoughts we think about ourselves, which is, again, the theme and, what we, an earlier episode we had with both Juby and Kat, and specifically thoughts they thought about themselves. Keep reemphasizing this. We all have it. We have certain thoughts that we believe, things we say to ourselves internally, or it just feels like a fact and a truth, and they're not empowering us. And it's not that we want to get thoughts like, oh, I'm so smart and I'm so beautiful, and it's like a prideful thing or a pump. It's about having truth within us, truth thinking, and truth that gives us power to move forward, to love ourselves, to love others, to make a contribution in the world. That's really, there's a real humility in that, but we've got to think true thoughts. And so it's really, interesting that, okay, so you believed about being smart, but of course that ended up being like a defense, like I'm smart.
Yeah, that really is a defense mechanism for me. Yeah. So when somebody tells me that I'm ugly, and I remember when, even in high school, I was told by a friend that she said that if I smile, I look uglier. So, and that also stopped me from, I'm
going to go find these people, give them a piece of my mind. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
And so that's why I, from then on, I really thought that maybe I'm really ugly when I smile.
Yeah. So when you thought that, when you think I'm ugly, when you think my smile is ugly, how did that impact your life?
I was really stuck in that position of being awkward, like awkward about how I look, awkward of how I look in front of camera, or smile. Awkward when I smile. I'm really awkward.
Were you always hiding your smile?
Yeah,
or
I
trying
always
not to
hiding.
smile?
Yeah, not trying to smile because at the back of my mind, every time I smile, I look ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and that just builds up like just different like teas, and even like I was telling you that I was teased a lot that I have thick and big mouth
Lips. Yeah.
I mean lips.
Yeah.
I really have like thick lips, and so I guess it's because I have these thick lips and big lips. So then maybe I'm not really beautiful when I smile, and it really adds up to my ugliness.
It's kind of funny now, but it's not funny actually.
Yes.
Because the reason it's not funny is because it impacts how you present yourself, how you feel about yourself, and again, just overall self-confidence, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you've been able to make huge strides and break through that.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of things we can pull. Like there's some principles I really want to pull out of this and unpack. And one of those is this. Let me just go ahead and say this, that we have to really be careful what we say to children and to teenagers, to each other, of course, as adults. But why would we be telling somebody you're not going to amount to something, you're ugly, you're not smart, you're good for nothing, like things that some people say when maybe they were jealous of you, possibly, we don't even know where, or you get angry, or you're just saying an observation about somebody. Why would you say that about somebody's lips? In fact, I told her now, though, you have the kind of lips people pay for. No. Because of the impression that it's making, the limitations, the boundaries that are going on internally. And it's really, again, not about what the people say, but it's about what we believe.
Yes.
And we believe it, then we live out our beliefs.
Yeah.
So, what can you say? What can you say about bullying and saying that stuff?
Yeah. I'll just say it in Bisaya,
Okay.
so they will understand really. And so kanang good, di ba sa ato amang good kanang mga Pinoy ba, hilig kay ta magsungog, hilig kay ta mag half joke, hilig kay ta magbully-bully, especially sa atong mga friends or sa atong mga igsuon, or kanang gani, especially or kung naakay pag umangkon diha, kanang kita gani as an adult usahay magbully ta ba, mag-tease ta na, oy pangit man ka, inana gani, or oy kani siya kanang murag babainhon lang maglihok ba, murag ana good, pero ingnan dayon na bayot jud ka ana good, or kana siya mura siya feminine siya, ay babae siya pero medyo masculine ang iyang ay tomboy man na siya, di ba? Usually inana ang ato ang ginasulti, and kanang murag dili na to ma-realize gud gani na actually kana siya pod ang makalead sa ilaha nga magdiretso na lang yun dara na path. Inana god na giingnan nimo na kani siya pangit man ni siya. So mag-believe na lang yun siya sa iyang kaugalingon nga ang people around her or him ginaingnan siya nga pangit siya. So diha na lang yun siya magpadayon, maglakaw nga maghuna-huna sa iyang sarili nga pangit gid siya. Or bugo ka, ana go, di ba? Usually magsige kag ingon nga bugo ato niya, oy ana kanang gwapa ra siya pero bugo ana gani. So di ba dagan kay tag mga inana ng mga side bits ng mga istorya, or bright ra siya pero ngilad man, inana good. So kinsay maka-relate dira. So inana ba, so unta dili na to iingnan ang uban og inana, kay it will really impact their life, their future, and how they see things around them, or how they see themselves, no, sa ilahang confidence mismo sa ilang kagalingon. And kanang it would really lead them to go into that path believing that they are gay, that they are tomboy, that they are ugly, they are not smart, or they just have really a bad shape, like bad body or stuff like that, anything. So dili siya maayo ba, and kita dapat as an adult kitay mag-umpisaan na kitay magtudlo sa atong mga sa mga batanon, sa mga bata na dili maayo ang magbully or mag-tease sa uban.
It just flows out when it's in Visaya. That's very good. And in English, like I'll say my little, it's not an interpretation because I only understand Gamailang, but in general, we have to be very careful what we're saying because of impressions, right, that are being formed. So when we're teasing, when we're bullying in Filipino context is more like having fun with somebody. So like in our American context, we really don't, bullying means it's a negative thing, but I think here it's like a fun thing, right? So, but in American context, we really understand don't bully. People do it, but we don't like it. It's not a fun thing. But what we do have is sarcasm. We have joking and teasing. We have to be careful of, all of that. Of course, we want to have fun and there's a little bit of teasing, but when we're really cutting at somebody and who they are and body parts or personality, So the other thing I want to say here too, though, is that all of us may have had things said to us, impressions that we got just from our parents or adults around us. Maybe we didn't have it directly said to us, but the way we looked in their eyes and then they showed us disappointment. Like maybe we knew that we were a disappointment or a mistake or not enough, or we had to perform for love, whatever it might be. Then I also just ask you to think about that in your own life, like, and how it could have made an impression inside of you, and belief structures are actually set around that. And it's actually still producing, in your life. Of course, there's times that we walk through stuff and we change the belief and it's like we unravel it and we get new beliefs. But I want to make sure that we actually do that, right? And that we are intentional at looking at what do I believe? And to be very frank, sometimes it's hard to know what we believe because we've believed it for so long, it just feels like fact and truth. So we don't even actually know we believe it because it's been there for so long. And a good way to find these things is when we're triggered, when we're upset about something, we're in pain. And because usually we blame the other person or the event for our pain, but it's painful because we believe it. That's an answer for somebody out there. Yes. This shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have been said or done to you. But because it's so painful, because you actually believe it. There's a story that comes up, and I love this story. And it's one of the amazing ladies that we know in New Zealand, and she has a granddaughter who's half Asian, half Japanese, and half like white New Zealander. So she's a beautiful mix. And I hope I have the story right, but her mother took her to Japan, and another little boy, like she was only 8 or something at that time, you know who I'm talking about. And another little boy says to her, because he wouldn't be used to seeing that, right? The mix. He said, "You're so ugly." And she said, "No, I'm not." Because she's been told how she believes she's beautiful because she's been told it for so long that those words just didn't even penetrate her like at all. Like it was a non-truth to her. It just bounced off. But had she believed it, then it would hurt. Then it would, but it just shows, like, I always love that story because if we don't believe it, it doesn't actually stick. I mean, it's not nice. We might not like it. It might be like a little slap on the, like a little pinch. Yeah. But if we believe it, then it's like a sunburn there and it goes, because we believe it. But we always blame the person who said
always blame other people.
For our pain. So we can take our power back by saying, wait a minute, am I actually believing this? And we can transition our belief into greater truth thinking. It's such a powerful, like system that we can actually apply to ourselves. We just have to be intentional about it. So that's what you had. It sounds like some of the thoughts that you were thinking and believing about yourself were, I'm ugly, I'm last, I'm not favored, I'm not chosen, and the result of that would cause you to like hide. And yet on the other side is you, and I know this too from already talking to you and seeing your life, but it also gave you some drive to succeed as well, but drive to succeed from pain. Like I need money. I'm going to, but did you also have this sense of, I'm going to prove myself?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Definitely. Yes.
Okay.
So, I especially in high school, especially when you're in high school, you're becoming mature of like, how do you think? So for me, I said to myself that, if I cannot compete with them in terms of beauty and in terms of other stuff, because I'm not seen or visible to them, I will try really, really, really try my best to excel in academics.
Okay.
So I remember when I was in high school, I'm focused on, like, I just wanted to be in the star section, the best section. So I wanted to be there, and I'll get honor cards and stuff like that. I'll have good grades. And when I graduate in high school, I would really, my goal was to let my father go into the stage and put a medal on me. And that just, to prove them that I have something, and I can draw, and I can win. so that really drives me to be competitive when it comes to my academics and other, my hobby, which is drawing. Because if I get an award, I felt that I'm recognized, maybe not by them, but at school, because somebody at school, sees me.
So it was a drive really to be seen and recognized.
Yeah, and recognized. So in high school, I love to be at school. I like to be in school, but much often than being at home, because at school I have teachers that recognizes my potential. I have teachers that really wanted to develop my potential and sees me and appreciate me. I'm not saying that everybody in my family doesn't see, my potential. It's just that they don't say it to me. They don't, let me feel
affirm
that.
You.
Yeah, they don't affirm me. So, and yeah, again, things just build up, and I always felt that I'm left behind. And I remember, just like to share this. I remember recently when I was doing my paintings, my grandmother told me, it's like, I never knew that you can, that you're good in your painting or drawing. And I said to her without it just came out. Like,
it just came out.
I didn't want to hurt her or offend her, but I just said, because nobody notices me before. And I just said that. And he's just like,
she.
I mean, she, sorry.
For our international viewers.
Yeah,
okay.
she then.
In Filipino, he and she is like, it's similar. So yeah, so not similar, but in the Visayan, let me just explain this. In the Visayan, there's not a distinguishing word.
Yeah.
So when they translate it in English, sometimes say he for a girl and she for a guy. And anyway, that's why I'm just clarifying. So some people go, huh? What's she talking about?
So yeah, my grandmother, this, after that, she was quiet because she didn't know how to answer me, because it just came out, like I said, because nobody notices me before. That's it. And, I didn't intend to offend her or what.
Did it offend her?
No,
I think,
it's just a statement
of fact.
Yeah. And maybe he thinks that, true. So, like those kind of things. But
wow. And I want to say this, that I said earlier, Ems is really a phenomenal artist, and without any formal training. Like we should like we have a link to your Instagram. Do you still have that Instagram going with some art? And what was neat was 2 years ago, I believe it was, we did our Global Impact did our first art auction in the US to raise money for our orphanage in I almost said in the Philippines, our orphanage in the Ukraine. Maybe we'll have an orphanage here soon. Our orphanage in the Ukraine, Living Pearl. So we had artists from America and different countries give artwork, and she gave some of the most beautiful artwork. Wasn't one of yours the highest? I think you had the second highest bid. And it was, just amazing. Yeah. So point is, right? There was all this talent, and it's really true. You weren't seen for a long time, but then sometimes, I can think that there are things in our life and talents. It's like there is a cloak around us, and we're hidden for a while, and other people don't see it, just the imagery that comes to me. I do believe that God even does that at times, not out of a negativity, but he's hiding something special, like a treasure. True. I feel that for somebody that's actually watching, where you have felt unseen and unacknowledged. And it's true, you have been unseen and unacknowledged, but there's a treasure inside of you, and it's like it's being cloaked or hidden for the right time. Yeah. And what's important is that you see it, you acknowledge it. And you let God see it, and you get that real connection that's there. Because, I also believe that God does that sometimes to help us develop where we can feed ourselves emotionally with what we need, because acknowledgement and being seen and understood is a very legitimate emotional need. And so first we must get it from God. Yeah. And second, teaching this in relationship with self, of course, how do we also give it to ourselves? Never are we an island unto ourselves, and we just can give ourselves all that we need. We first must have God. God is the source. We are still the created being. God is the source. But when we give it to ourselves, and then we look less to external sources to give it to us, that's really healthy emotionally. But what we're often looking for, because we're still in the childhood state, in that area of emotion, we're looking for somebody else to acknowledge it and see it, because it helps us. It feeds us. Yeah. But in actuality, that's that's like that emotion or that need is still at a childlike state, because children can't give it to themselves.
Yeah. True.
Adults can, but when we're children, we need from an external source. But if we've never gotten it, learned how to fill it, connect with God, we stay in that more. It's not that we're immature, but it's more of an immature state of that need.
Yeah.
And we grow into, we can actually identify specific emotional needs and grow into a greater level of adulthood, which means that we're connecting with God. He's feeding us and we're feeding ourselves. And what others give us is like the third source, not the first or even the second. It's really an amazing principle to understand that. So I just feel like to encourage some viewers out there that could, it's been a pain, like it's been hurtful.
Yeah.
And yet there's times that if we can look at it like that also it's just not the time for the reveal.
Exactly. I really agree to that. Before, if I remember, the past, I would always have a tear, and now I can just laugh at it because I know and I believe that it's not true.
Because you've processed it.
Yeah, because I process it. And, it's not like just, instant. I have to walk through it and ask, and be around people that will really help me, identify my value, my worth, and really tell me the truth about me, about myself, and what's the truth that God is telling me.
Yeah.
So, and I also, I would just wanted to add that because of that as well, because that cloak wasn't, it's still covering me at that moment. But it also teaches me to appreciate and really be thankful of the things that I have and not take those things for granted. Like really be faithful of the small things. And once God is ready to give you the bigger things, you were just overwhelmed. Like, guys, I tell you, God is so amazing in my life that I never knew things that happened to me, things that I am blessed. I really received and experienced it. And he just turned things around that I never imagined. Before, I just dreamed of going inside a mall. Like, I just watch Marco Polo, from afar, and I dream of going inside.
Just going in the lobby of Marco Polo's a hotel. We don't have it right now, but it used to be our big 5-star hotel here. And she's saying she would just dream of going in the lobby. Yeah. Well, what happened?
I stayed in Marco Polo.
She got to stay there at the Continental Club because we were blessed with that. Somebody blessed us. Thank you to the partner who did that. I mean, and there's story after story after story.
After stories. And the crayons, I'm so amazed with that because, I had that. I would always really make sure to save, to tipid, like use bits of bits so that it won't be consumed right away. And really, I'm so very careful of my things. And, in the, before, after that, when I was in Global Impact and met people, good people, great people, like Jamie, I'm blessed. And somebody gave me sets of crayons. I would never.
And art gear and all kinds of stuff you have now.
All kinds of stuff. And I'm so
and selling your artwork, not selling because it was an art auction, but overseas,
overseas. So,
and people wanting her stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's more to come for her with that. It's just the beginning, but
So those self-pity that I'm not good enough or I'm less favored, I'm, last option and I'm ugly and the things just I'm not good enough or good or, later on in life, I really realized that it's not really my identity. And my identity is what I believe in myself right now, that I am beautiful and I have a great smile.
That's true too.
That I don't
brains and beauty. And it's really true.
Yeah, and it's really true. So I also wanted to tell other people that it's not about the external appearance of a person that a person should be measured. It's
true.
Always what's inside and what's their capability, what's their potential. And because especially here, we tend to say that, oh, she's just beautiful, but she's stupid. Or she's stupid, but she's ugly. I mean, she's smart, but she's ugly,
What if you're stupid and ugly? That's not a good combo.
but there's So people, I hear a lot of that.
Is it, oh, I compliment in one area, but I better say the negative.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it is?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
here's where you're good, but here's where you're not. Let's
Yeah.
point it out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like
Let's
that.
not do that.
And most of the time, the uglier one is point out more than the best,
The negative.
the negative than the positive. So yeah, as I hear it,
a principle we can take, all of us, is let's be more affirming.
Yeah,
and sometimes we're thinking something about a person, like in an affirming way, but we don't say it. Like take the time, and when it's real, and it's true. Like, we're not trying to be fake. We're not trying to just say stuff, right? But like, it's important to affirm, compliment, and say, even if it might be in our heart and our thoughts, well, branch out, or step out, be bold, and tell it to the person.
Yeah,
it can feed.
Yeah.
And even more, let's tell ourselves the right stuff.
Yeah, the right stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I also, if we receive the answer from a person that we are affirming, that's not true. Let's be gracious for them, because it's also hard for them to receive it,
especially if they're not believing it.
Yeah, especially if they're not. Because before, I would freak out if somebody would tell me, it's like, "You're beautiful. Are you sure?" Like, I remember when, I would just freeze and I didn't know how to react.
Well, even being here on cameras, that wouldn't have happened many years ago, would it? I mean, so it just shows the growth of Jorgen, of him, and that she didn't stay in that place of self-pity and thinking that she, thankfully, with the help of others and stuff and God, involved, but she also put the work in to transform herself and choose to change, right? And go from the one level to where she was, because you could still actually be in that mindset now if you never chose to grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, we stay in our same, people stay in the same mindset their whole life.
Yeah.
So it's our choice of growth.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah. And hopefully, and then we're also getting around the right people, being in the right environment, listening to things just like Limitless that will infuse us with that empowerment and strength for this type of change.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you truly are. And I say, I know you can receive it now, but you're gorgeous. And look at her smile. To me, she has one of the most beautiful smiles. I love when she smiles. And it's really kind of crazy that she was told the exact opposite when she was young. So don't always believe everything that you're told. Okay, everybody?
Yes.
Find out what God says, and find out what people who love you and will speak truth, in affirming truth into your life. Believe those people, not the ones that are angry, jealous, operating from their own pain, whatever it might be. I mean, we bless them and we love them, but don't believe it for yourself, And and in terms of achievements, you've been able to do so much. You graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing from University U of M. She's been here in Global Impact and leading and influencing so many people. And now she's doing professional work out in her career. And although COVID's changed some things, but do you know what I mean? But you can just see, here's a girl that came from, in America, we'd say small town. I don't know what would you say here, but small. We say the Bukid here. Is that the Bukid? Because it's not really the mountain. But in other words, it's far from Davao City, and there's no mall there. There's nothing, even to this day. Again, another point is it doesn't matter where we come from.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where we come from, whether we were given a lot in life and we were born into, wealth and big houses and great family, or we come from something that's much more simple.
Yeah, much more simple.
It's all a matter of mindset.
Yeah.
It really is. And number one, give your life to Jesus. Give your life to God. Live for him. He is the source. He is the internal connection. And from him, everything else flows. But you got to work on your mindsets. You got to work on renewing your mind and unraveling stuff that's not empowering you and thinking thoughts that are truth thinking. I'm going to teach on that one day, truth thinking, not positive thinking, truth thinking. And how do we take the steps? How do we process? How do we do the work in ourselves? The work meaning identifying what was already going on for us, what it's making us feel, then those feelings, what actions and results we get, and identifying the ones that are, causing us pain, causing us disempowerment, causing us disappointment, and then working on those and transforming them so that it gives us more energy. Something I've been thinking about lately is what energizes me and what takes energy from me. And the way we think and the way we feel is a big part of that. It's not the only part. There's things physically in our body. There's all that kind of stuff that can either give us energy or take energy. But it's interesting depending on the mindset we have and the thoughts we have. Is it energizing us to move forward or not? So, Ems, any last words of encouragement to everybody?
Yeah. So I would really agree to Pastor Amy that, first and foremost, give your life to Jesus, because Jesus is your friend. He's always gonna be there, and the things that he did for us, gives us a new life, a refreshment, a new revelation about ourselves, about the things around us, our perspective, and stuff like that. So yeah, do that first, and of course, along the way, there might be bumps along the way, but
There will be.
There will be bumps along the way. There will be discouragement, disappointments, even for yourself, but be gracious enough for yourself and for the people around you.
Good.
And always make that choice that I will come out, I will overcome this, I will conquer this, I will champion this. So it's not, you cannot always rely on that there would be people that would speak to you, encourage to you, and after that, when they are done, you'll go back to your cave and cave in and think about self-pity again or insecurities. You have to have that courage, and you have to take action and step out from that zone.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
yeah. So, and again, whatever whatever situation you're in right now, or maybe you feel like you're still lacking, don't see the lack. See what's there. What's the blessing you're getting at the moment? Even just a single coin, remember?
Right.
Even if you have that single broken crayon, be thankful.
Be thankful. And be a good steward.
Be a good steward of that.
Sounds like you were a good steward, by the way. I didn't say that earlier, but you were. You took care of it.
I really
and you saved.
Yeah. I really saved that, because that's just that's just what I have. So be really good steward and be faithful of the little things.
Because you could be tempted to say, oh, it's just nothing, and then you don't take care of it. It's a real poverty mindset, actually. So take care of the small. It's important.
Yeah.
And one last thing I want to say too, that we talked earlier before about, you had these negative thoughts about yourself, but it drove you to do positive things.
Yeah.
But we don't want to live life like that. That's going back to energy. What energy? So there's a negative energy, like negative thoughts, a negative, it's something draining you. And yet you say, okay, I'm going to overcompensate to prove this wrong. And yet we don't ever prove it wrong. What changes is our belief about ourselves.
Yeah.
So I would also, you don't have that anymore. You're not out there trying to prove that, but you are succeeding, and you're growing, and you're expanding your territory, but now from positive, now from truth thinking, not instead from pain or from thinking less of yourself and saying, I'm going to prove others, because we never want to live with a chip on our shoulder, even toward others, even toward what other people did. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Even if you're a minority, even if you've been treated negatively, there's so much in our world right now, oh, I was treated this way because of, and whatever it is. And like these real sob stories. And I'm not saying it's not good. We shouldn't do that. Other people shouldn't do that, but it's all about then what we do with it, and how we think, right? So let's forgive, and let's build our own thinking about ourselves, and go and produce the fruit, the positive fruit, grow, succeed, make a contribution in the world, and that is what's going to count in the end.
Yeah, exactly. True. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I just feel like shaking your hand. I love you, Ems.
I love you too.
And thank you for being on Limitless, for being bold and coming here and talking. You don't have a nosebleed?
No.
Okay. And so here she is, Jorgen Jordan, brains and beauty. I think you can all agree. Okay. And that's all of you, by the way, as well. You are powerful. You are strong. You are limitless on the inside. Let it come out. God bless you. We love you.